Satnam, welcome everybody. Today I'd like to introduce you, I'm Guru Kiran, and today I'd like to introduce you to Mirko. He'll be asking me some questions for our education and enlightenment.
Yeah. Well, for everybody's knowledge, I've known Kiran for a few years now, and I always thought that she was a fantastic yoga teacher, but I had no idea that she could do such breath work like this and energize all my different nadis throughout my inner body. And at this point, I feel a little bit goosebumps since it's a little foggy. But Kiran, what made you start to do this type of yoga, like you just did for us?
Well, I originally was introduced to Kundalini Yoga in Boston when I lived in Boston many moons ago, when I was in my 20s. And I met a friend at a meeting who said, "You have to try this very special tea. You have to come with me to this restaurant where they had this very special tea." And that very special tea in this very special restaurant at a Golden Temple restaurant in Boston happened to be yogi tea.
Yogi tea.
Yogi tea, as brought to the West, which is an Ayurvedic tea combination of herbs and spices, brought to the West by Yogi Bhajan. So that was my segue into, then they had posters at the restaurant for yoga classes, and the yoga classes were right above the restaurant. So I signed up for a series of Kundalini yoga classes, and I felt so ecstatic after the classes. There was two girlfriends of I were taking these classes, and at the beginning series of the classes, I think there was about 10 classes, the room was filled with people. But by the end, it was basically just about the three of us. I think everybody else thought the yoga was too hard. So the three of us would take these classes, and then we'd be so ecstatic and blissful and high and energized from these classes that we would wander around Boston at night, just like we were floating on air for hours after the classes.
Enjoying everything.
Yes, it really opened up our life to a greater pleasure in our bodies.
And this type of breath yoga?
Yes, so this part of the yoga is called pranayama, which is connecting with the pranic life force. And Kundalini yoga is led by prana. So we start with feeding the prana so we can get the prana in our bodies, and then the breath leads the asanas. So everything is done out of the breath.
The breath connects us to the ocean and to the world, everything around us.
The breath is what connects us to life. So we
Yes.
work with the breath first and go from there. So that's why we started out this morning with our connecting with prana.
I feel great.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you
for joining us today, Mirko. Satnam. Thank you, everybody. Breathe deep. Enjoy your pranic day. Satnam.